Hello, I'm Dr. Jeanette Raymond, psychologist, psychotherapist, and relationship expert, going to talk to you today about relationship paranoia. So many people come to see me in a great amount of disturbance and anxiety because they feel like their partner is paranoid. They feel like their partner's in another world and they can't get through to them, that they can't reason with them. They can't get them to see that they are living in a world that isn't real. And you, as the person on the other end of this paranoia, feel like you're the enemy, that your partner's saying that you're not safe to be with, that all you're doing is out to get them, you're going to humiliate and embarrass them in public, you're going to harm them, you have evil intentions, that you have ulterior motives, that nothing you do can be taken at face value, that you're just someone who is bound to think evil things of them, and therefore they are entirely justified in their view of wanting to stay away from you, of being cautious of you, of being afraid of you, and of seeing you as everything that's harmful, nasty, evil, and to be avoided at all costs. So imagine if you're on the other end of that thinking, oh my God, how can I prove that I'm not this ogre? How can I prove that I do love my partner, that I don't have evil intentions, that I get that they're frustrated or anxious, that I need to kind of defend myself, that I'm not this horrible painted evil monster with, fire coming out of my mouth, with all sorts of things behind my back that I'm going to use in a harmful, malignant way. Well, of course you can't, and that's why it's so frustrating. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about paranoia so you can understand it and deal with it. And then by the end of this video, I will tell you 5 things that you should do when you're experiencing your partner as in a paranoid state. So what is paranoia? Paranoia is a sense of extreme fear that you are not safe and that the people and things around you cannot be trusted, that everything is not what it seems, and that the only thing you can trust is your inner fear. So basically the fear center of the brain lights up and all the reasoning, judgment, rational sides of the brain are kind of offline. So if you try to reason with your partner and defend yourself and get them to see the world the way you do, you're lost, because that's a part of the brain is not online. The only thing that's online is the fear part. And so if you get more and more angry because you can't get through, that just feeds into their paranoia. See, I knew you were angry. I knew you didn't really like me. I knew you didn't really mean it when you said that. I knew you really wanted to do this when you said you didn't, and all sorts of other things. So that's what paranoia is, and you might be wondering where does it come from? How does it suddenly pop up? Well, it happens when something gets triggered in your partner, where one little tiny thing that you may have said, done, or not said and done that they thought you should, will trigger memories going back years and years and years of when they felt betrayed, let down, lied to, misunderstood, and they'll all cascade inside the brain to come together in full bloom, and then we call it paranoia. So they're not in touch with the world and the reality as you're seeing it. They're in touch with the world and reality in their inner life. It's very real to them. And so any attempt you might make to change that reality is going to be met with more paranoia, because you're threatening their very existence and interpretation of their reality in that moment. So the best thing to do, number one, is don't get caught up in that paranoia, because you too can feel paranoid. Your partner's paranoia can get fed to you. You might feed on it, because you're suddenly feeling like, but I'm not this person. I'm not a liar. I'm not a cheat. I don't have evil intentions. I'm not trying to manipulate my partner. I'm not trying to catch them out. I'm not trying to get them to do things they don't want to do just for my benefit. And so you get afraid of them because you're thinking, God, if this is the picture they're painting of me, imagine what other people would think. They might actually believe them. They might actually believe I hurt them, or I did something, or I cheated on them, or I mistreated them, or I don't listen to them, or whatever. And so then you start to become afraid, and you go into a paranoid place, because of course that's not what they're trying to do. So when both of you are in a fear activated state, you're not thinking rationally, your partner is not thinking rationally. So the only thing you can do is be in a place of trying to force your fearful reality onto the other. Neither of you wants it, and you end up in a terribly, terribly disconnected place where neither of you can remember the good moments. Your partner, who's all of a sudden afraid of you, and you become the enemy, they've lost touch with the good moments you had, the humorous moments, the loving, affectionate, warm memories. When you start getting afraid that if they carry on with their paranoia, you really are going to be painted as an ogre, you also lose touch with your good memories of them and your warm, happy connections too. So both of you are lost, and you have to kind of find a way out. So here's number one. If you're on the other end of your partner's paranoia and you feel like you might be getting paranoid too, number one, do not, whatever you do not try to take their paranoia away. Don't tell them they're being stupid and silly, they're being ridiculous, they're nuts, they're crazy. What do you think that's going to do? Yes, it's going to say, see, I knew you thought I was bad. I knew you thought that. I knew you really think. It just enhances and aggravates and lights up the paranoia. So try to understand as best you can, even though it's really hard for you in that moment, that they're just afraid. They're terrified. If you thought that you were not safe, wouldn't you feel terrified? Well, that's how they're terrified. You may not think it's justified, but in their inner world, it is, because you are unsafe to them at that moment, right? So you have to try and accept what they're saying, but keep a little place inside you which is grounded in reality, that this is not who I really am. It's just who they think I am at this time. It will pass. That's how you keep yourself centered and grounded, and just accept where they are and try to be okay with it, not try to undo it, take it away, or anything else. Number two, never, whatever you do, do not try to replace your reality with theirs, because that's what you felt when they were trying to do it to you. Remember how bad you felt? Remember how angry you got? Remember how desperate you got? Well, that's how they're going to feel if you try to say, you're talking rubbish, this is crazy, this is the reality. They're just going to get even more afraid, because they're going to see you as a controlling, intrusive, invasive beast. And so you've lost again. Number three, try to identify with the fear, right? Try to come to a place where you're have some common ground. You were just afraid that if they paint you in this bad picture, then you really are going to be scared of them. They become the enemy in the same way as you're the enemy to them. So you know what that's like. And then say, look, I get it. You're afraid that I'm going to harm you. I know what that's like. I know what it's like to be afraid. Try and give them some piece of wood to hang on to in this terrible ocean of rage, where they can feel safe, where you can both hang on to that piece of wood together, because it's your only lifeline on both ends. Then the fear will come down slowly, and then the two of you have an opportunity to kind of laugh and remember the good times. Hey, remember when we had that pillow fight the other night? Remember when we had that romantic dinner by candlelight? Remember when we went to visit our favorite vacation spot? Remember when we swam underwater? Remember when we had our first baby? All the good things, because now there's room for it. Now all the other parts of the brain are online, and the fear center has subsided in you and your partner. And so both of you are able to get in touch with the good things that make you feel safe, which is the only antidote to paranoia, which is a state of extreme fear. So I hope you enjoyed that video. You can see and read an extended version of this on my blog online, in my website. And I would be delighted to get to know about your experiences of being on the other end of paranoia, whichever end, and how you dealt with it, and whatever you want to share. I'd enjoy hearing and responding to you. Okay, bye for now.